And we are back for Transformation Tuesday. Have you ever wondered what a journey into healing is really like? What it's really like to work with a healer? Sometimes people feel pretty hesitant, they're unsure, but they're really curious about healing work. So, this episode is for you if you've been feeling the nudge to get some support, but don't know what that really looks like, or what healing with someone like me actually involves. I'm Amanda Beth with Amanda Beth Healing. You can catch me at amandabethhealing.com. Look up all the services that we're going to talk about today. So, one of the things that I like to do is meet people where they are. So, looking at you energetically, a lot of times clients will come in and we do that energetic blueprint. And one of the things that I feel working with me is a little different is that I meet you where you are. I want to know what's going on. How do you perceive what's going on? What is it that you want? What are your goals? Where do you want to be? Where are you now and where are you going? And it's an absolute judgment-free zone. I have worked many, many years in a variety of careers, and I have met people from all walks of life. And to say it takes a lot to shock me, it really does. And whatever you have going on is real in your life and what you need to address. All of your feelings are valid. And I want to help you to process those feelings, looking at some patterns, and then we're going to go deeper and we're going to look at what caused those patterns, not by reliving them, but just looking at the beliefs that are there. And that's how I use theta healing. So you don't have to be broken because none of us are broken. We don't need fixed. We need healing. You have to be willing to look at what's no longer working for you. And so if you've been feeling emotionally stuck, physically run down, or spiritually misaligned, that's a concept. Let's talk a little bit more about that concept. Spiritual misalignment isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's just like you're feeling like you're off. You're disconnected from your joy, your clarity, or your center. You might be going through the motions of life, trying all the right things, checking all the boxes, and you still don't feel like it's you. That's your soul's way of asking for course correction. That's when healing work comes in to help you realign with your truth, your timing, and your energy. So let's break it down a little more. So, 7 signs that you might be spiritually misaligned. You're constantly second guessing yourself. You've lost trust in your own intuition. Your own decision making feels heavy or it's filled with fear. If you find yourself calling your bestie about every decision or checking with Google or Gemini or asking AI for guidance on everything, this might be a sign. If you feel like you're living on autopilot, I mean, we all talk about the advantages of getting things set in place, the rinse and repeat. But if life feels like it's a loop, it doesn't mean that nothing's wrong, but it also doesn't mean that it feels right. So if it's just rinse and repeat and you don't have the joy and you're not looking forward to each day, your life might be on autopilot. You might be misaligned. When you're emotionally exhausted, even after rest, this one's a big one. And we talked about it last week. Sleep, self care, downtime, all of those things that you're doing still isn't filling up. You can't pour from an empty cup, but what are you doing to fill it? When you wake up tired, this might be a sign that you're fighting this constant misalignment. You keep attracting misaligned people, jobs, or the patterns that you keep doing. The same frustrating situations are on repeat. It's like Groundhog Day. Even when you change your external circumstances, you're still on this repeat mode. This could be a sign. You feel disconnected from joy, from purpose, from inspiration. The things that used to light you up, you just feel flat. You're forced to do it. It's irrelevant. Those are all signs when nothing lights you up. You're out of alignment. You've outgrown your current identity. You feel the urge to evolve. You don't want to be who you are, but the idea of becoming someone different, the idea of going through that change and that transition, the unknown is really scary, but you're wanting to do it. You're identifying that this persona doesn't fit anymore. That could be that misalignment. You feel like something's off and you can't explain it. This is what everyone that comes to me seems to have in common. Everything looks fine on the outside, you're checking the boxes, but your spirit is restless and you're searching. So that's when you reach out. That's when you reach out for some healing. And I wanted to talk today about the different services that I offer because I don't know that that's necessarily easily understood. We do the lives every week to introduce you to some theta healing so that you can experience that and know what it feels like and know that there is some hope out there and that you can change things. So, the best way to connect with me, go to amandabethhealing.com and look up that energetic blueprint. The energetic blueprint is where I scan you, and it's an intuitive scan. I'm not hooking you up to a machine. I'm not using my computer. I am using my gifts from the spirit, and looking into your energetic flow. And this one is based on the 7 chakras. And I relate that the chakras are little energetic centers that are in your body. And when those centers are misaligned, when each cog in your system is not spinning at the same speed, then it causes a blockage. And things get trapped there. And there's certain things that get trapped in certain areas. And as we look through those, we then look at a blueprint and a plan as to what is your next step and how are you best going to fill your needs. So, and that's the trick here. We want to fill your needs. We don't want to fill your time because you've been looking at different internet courses and books and cards and stones and everything. And some of this we enter in with blind faith and hoping that it's the right answer. With a blueprint, you have a plan. You have your plan of action and you know what is going to best fill your needs. I do offer one on one intuitive healing sessions. Those can be done one offs. I have a 4-week program, a 90-day program. And if you want to talk to me, I have other programs beyond that as well. But let's talk about kind of some of these baseline things, the things to get you going and get you going into the healing. And once you've addressed the healing, we've got programs that help you to do that shadow work and move on from there. So but let's talk about the basics today. I also do homeopathic educational stuff, looking at things from the perspective of being a homeopath and helping you to understand how to use those remedies. There's like over 6,000 remedies and more coming out every day. We can talk about the acute things to help you with bug bites, headaches, UTIs, uh, migraines, muscle aches and pains and strains, all of those things we can talk about. What are the remedies that you can take and get an immediate relief? We also talk about using homeopathy for the detoxing from all of the things that we're exposed to in our environment. Everything from the heavy metals and plastics, vaccines, and other things that we are exposed to, those toxins, and working with homeopathy to gently remove this from your system so that your body is functioning from a healthier standpoint. And of course, if you're local within a 2-hour radius, I would say just a 2-hour radius, I also have the float center where we do the rest therapy, float therapy, isolation tanks, the saltwater floats. Yes, that's what we have at Iowa Salt Pod. There's also the amethyst biomat for some reset, rejuvenation. Flotation really helps your body with that whole nervous reset. It's not just a luxury, it's not a spa thing. So those are the things that I offer, and hopefully today we've kind of looked at what things you may be looking at to give you an indication that those are the things you need to do. You don't have to choose just one. These modalities work very well together to support you to becoming the wholest person that you can be. And like always, I want to do some theta downloads, some healing energy so that you can understand what it feels like. And so with theta, it's important that you say yes to accept the energetic work when that opportunity is for you. That helps set up your conscious and your subconscious to receive the work. Most people feel some of the energetic work and some people don't, and that's okay, whatever you feel. If you're catching this as a replay, you just put hashtag retag and yes in the comments there so that I know you've gotten that work. It's energy. Energy is not lost. It's always there. That energetic work is always there for you to take when you're ready for that. So if you're not ready when you hear it today, you might be ready tomorrow or next week. Catch it on the replay, or you may want to revisit it if you don't feel that you fully got the work. You can always do that as well for this week's live as well as all of the other lives. They are posted to Facebook, to LinkedIn, and ultimately they end up on YouTube as well. So I welcome you to catch all of those. But so let's talk about some healing for today. Um, these are yeah, I think these are going to be pretty juicy. Um, the number one belief that we're going to talk about is that I have to figure it out alone. That you're obligated to have independence and that you have to figure it out on your own for it to work, for you to survive, for you to feel whole. And so let's remove that obligation that reaching out for help is weakness. We're going to remove that obligation. And that download is that you know what it feels like to receive support without guilt, that you release the belief that you have to struggle to earn love and know that you're supported, you're safe, and you are held in this energetic container. If you'd like that belief, just say yes out loud. Put yes in the comments, hashtag replay, and yes. Okay. Yeah. Thinking that we have to struggle or struggling is, yeah, struggle is not the way to do it, folks. It is not. But, and also, we don't want to continue to hold on to the belief that healing's only for people who are broken. that only crisis deserves to have care. At any point in time in our lives, you don't have to break down to break through. You don't have to be clearly knocked down. You don't have to be clear down in the trenches in order to have some healing. You don't have to allow it to become a crisis point. So let's remove that obligation that only deserves care and that healing's only for broken people, because we are never broken. We don't need fixed, we need healed. This download would look like: I'm worthy of healing exactly as I am. I know what it feels like to grow and to evolve through love, not pain. I allow myself to receive healing with grace. Oh. The indigestion comes up, and this is always a sign that the energy is really moving. And so this is something that I think is going to hit really well with everyone. So if you'd like that, just say yes in the comments. Oh, yes. Oh, that's a big one. That's a really big one. Um, and then also that investing into yourself is selfish or irresponsible. That money or time that you spend on yourself creates shame. So let's remove that obligation, remove that it's a sin to spend money on yourself. It's a sin to invest in yourself, and that you're obligated to hold on to shame for taking care of yourself. Let's get rid of that, um, and remove what prevents you from letting go of that. That download is that I know how to invest in myself with clarity and confidence. I release guilt around receiving. I'm safe to put myself first. And I trust in my inner guidance. So listening to that intuition, that inner guidance, and finding the safety there, not fact checking everywhere else. We're talking about you here. So if you'd like those downloads, just say yes out loud. Another one coming through. That's great. Um, and also feeling that because you don't know where to start, so you're not gonna, you having that obligation that everything has to be a perfect plan in order to instigate it or to be safe. So let's let go of that. Let's let go of the obligation to have a perfect plan. Starting is so much more important. We're not talking about, and I know you've heard me talk before, failure isn't fatal. Failure is when you give up and you stop trying, because it's all a matter of moving and getting up again and doing better the next time and learning the lessons, finding those nuggets. So yeah, removing that obligation to have a perfect plan, and maybe remove the obligation to have a complete plan. You need to take that first step. So let's release the need to have it all figured out, that you know how to take aligned action even from uncertainty, and that you're safe to begin that. So feeling that you're in that time of uncertainty, it's important to just take some action. Um, if you don't take any action, you're still going to be feeling this way and continue that downslide. So let's take action. Let's have the confidence to step forward. If you'd like that, just say yes out loud. There we go. And that song I always reference, if you don't decide, you still have decided. You've decided to not take action in your own life by not deciding. So decide to take some action and figure out where you need to go. When you start taking that action, you start looking towards it, that's when things are going to come to you. That's when the universe is like, they're ready for some change. They're ready to negotiate the next step. And so let's look forward to that. And yeah, just be ready for change and to accept that. Most people tell me that after a single session, They finally feel like themselves again. They can hear their own voice without all the noises. And sometimes that's what a session is. It's about reconnecting with that intuition, finding what your voice is, finding how you perceive that information from source, from God, creator, from your guides and your ancestors, allowing them to be heard. So sometimes that's what we work on is reconnecting with how you hear and how you perceive. And I always work with individuals to teach you the skills so that you can go on and identify when you're getting down again, and you can access your tools and use them to free yourself and to continue stepping up and stepping into your power, reclaiming yourself. I know those kind of sound like buzzwords and cheesy, but that's really how it works. So, if you are interested in working with me, certainly comment below, like, subscribe so you get these weekly notifications that we're going live again. If you're watching this and you feel the pull, send me a message. Um, there's, book a discovery call with me and we'll talk about it. And so, that's a free time that we exchange ideas and decide if this is a path that's going to help you on your path, to help you on your journey, so we can build that bridge. So, healing is available. When you're ready, know that you don't have to do it alone. So, look forward to seeing you in the future.